This is Voices of B2B Marketing, where B2B marketing gets human.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the B2B Marketing Leader Diaries. I'm Vidhi, your host, and this is where I get to sit down with people who have not just built successful careers, but they have shaped the way business and marketing are done today. The idea behind this whole thing is pretty simple. Leadership isn't just about those fancy job titles, it's about how you show up, the choices you make, and the impact you leave behind. Through these conversations, I want to bring you real stories, practical lessons from leaders who have navigated challenges and created meaningful change. And they're damn good at it. Today, I'm really excited to be joined by Kunal Agarwal. Kunal has spent over 13 years leading marketing strategy, digital transformation, and technology driven campaigns. I'm out of breath just saying that. With an MBA from ISB, he's helped businesses grow by combining strategy with smart use of technology. We all need that. Whether it's brand presence, driving customer acquisition, or improving retention, he's doing a lot. What I really admire about Kunal is that he just doesn't talk about marketing in terms of those leads and campaigns, all the buzzwords that are there. He focuses on creating real value for customers and stakeholders and making sure marketing actually moves the needle for the business. I can't wait to unpack his journey and lessons he's learned along the way. But first, I think I've talked a lot. Let's hear it from Kunal.
Hi, Vidhi. Thank you so much for such a generous introduction. So I think you captured my journey really well. And, one of the ways I've differentiated myself as a marketer always is I've never shied away from looking at financials of the company. I've always believed in going head on with numbers, taking on the responsibility of the top line of the company, because ultimately that is everything that marketing has to deliver, whether you are in B2C or in B2B. Your job in marketing is to impact the top line of the company one way or the other. And I think that overall outlook as what has always helped me differentiate from a lot of other marketers who only believe in their metrics of, I'm going to look at marketing qualified leads. I'm only going to, look at what I bring in terms of website visitors or one metric in isolation. But at the end of the day, all of that, if it does not translate into revenue and profits, it's of no use.
True, that is very true. And you have very intensive experience as well. Looking back on your, 13 years shaping marketing strategies across different industries. What key experiences or let's say turning points most influence the way you approach strategy today, especially with the rise of agentic AI? Obviously, it's gonna be a part of the conversation and digital transformation.
So I'll break that down into a few parts. Strategy, I think I fully understood the term and what it means is when I did my MBA at ISB. The entire MBA program was focused on strategy and leadership, and that was really eye-opening for me to understand how companies really look at strategy, be it in terms of just the marketing strategy or, be it an operational strategy, a supply chain strategy, HR strategy. And that really helps you understand that if you need to compete effectively and you need to develop a competitive edge in the marketplace, you have to have something that is really going to differentiate the way you do business versus your competitor. The onus of that does not only always fall on marketing, but if you can find that edge in marketing, what you can do is basically find the unique way in which your company is going to deliver better top line than your competitors. That is the importance of strategy in marketing. When it comes to agentic AI and all the developments we've seen in the recent years, it has been really effective. It has made things much faster for us. We were already doing a lot of this work without AI, so it would go into the typical, let's do research, let's understand our competitors, let's deep dive into our customer, understand their brain, how it works, why it works, what do they do. It would require immense research, a lot of focus group studies, a lot of interviews, shadowing sales teams on meetings. So we've done all of those things over the years, and now this information is easily accessible on AI. You can understand the role, the your customer persona so easily. All that effort that goes into doing that is available, and all you need to do is validate the information. You can't obviously completely rely on the information that you get, but you have to validate it in real time. I feel how it has helped is the effort required to do all of this from scratch. Now it is more of the 80% of the legwork is done and being handed over to you, and all you need to do is the last mile 20% of just validating the data that you have got from your AI or your research, and just ensuring that this is exactly what it is, and this is what you've got is the actual truth.
True, very true. I mean, with AI and digital transformation moving so fast, these foundations matter even more because they shape how we adapt everything to in a crux.
Absolutely.
Like,
So,
it
like,
reminds me.
yeah, sorry to cut you, but simple things like even when you design campaigns, the way you can structure a campaign by persona group, location, language. I worked on a campaign back in 2021 for this company, and we realized the number of subsets of campaigns we needed was close to about 150.
Okay.
And that was done in a matter of maybe 2 or 3 days because we used a very early program which was already using AI in performance marketing. And it was
Okay.
not that widely known at the time, but we experimented it, we used it, and we actually managed to launch pan India, very hyper personalized campaign for various persona groups in different languages. And that wouldn't have been possible without AI. I mean, it would have taken us months of
True.
preparing creators. We would have needed more resources, more agencies, more designers, copywriters, translators. All of that was just managed.
I mean, it also reminds me that how some marketers focus only on the tools, but I personally believe that the real differentiator is having those long term lens, that you spoke about earlier, that you need to have those long term lens with you. That is what creates the real difference.
No, absolutely. It's the most important thing in business from time to time is to take a bird's eye perspective. Stop
True.
looking at this quarter, this financial year. Need to just think about your long-term vision. Where are we headed? Everything that we're doing there, is it going to help us get closer to our goal? And if I need to do something in 2030, am I setting the foundation for that today?
And I mean, speaking of tools and platforms, I'd love to go a little bit deeper into that side of things because it's very interesting. In your career, you've leaned on technology to amplify marketing's impact. We all do. Can you share a story where adopting a specific tool or platform became a game changer for your campaign results? I mean, even drop the tool if you want to. It might help me as well create a campaign or two.
So to answer that question, I'm going to go back to one of the tools I created at my previous organization. Unfortunately, this tool is not off the shelf. We built it specifically for our industry, which was the real estate industry, where it was common to have a lot of telecall. And you see
Okay.
most developers, like, they will harass you with calls, right? You've not made an inquiry, but you're constantly getting calls from developers saying we've launched a new property here, we launched a new property there. And again, we will have to develop something which was a competitive edge that would give us an edge over from the other companies. And we're like, you know what? We don't want to hit every single person in Mumbai and ask them if they're looking for a property. What if we just really focused on a very, very strong inbound approach, had a very strong digital push? This was back in the day when most developers had not started digital marketing. We were one of the early adopters of performance marketing in real estate. So we were generating a lot of leads. But how we differentiated ourselves is we create a customized tool for our telecalling team, which focused very heavily on an algorithm that basically gave them the right people to call in the beginning based on certain factors that they entered in the contact form on the website or on the campaign. That is how we ensured lead qualification is done automatically, and they are only given a set of people to call, and they were told to really focus. So we moved away from, you need to hit 200 calls a day to listen. You just need to make 60 calls a day. But these are important. Do them right, do them well, and we are sure the conversion numbers will go up. And that is what that tool that we built, that algorithm that we put in the tool, at that point in time, none of these Zapiers or anything like this existed to connect, CRMs to custom build tools. So we basically had multiple developers piecing together things, integrating our Facebook ad manager to a custom build software. And I think that really brought in efficiency, really brought in higher conversions, got us eventually better ROI in that particular campaign, and how we basically approached our marketing in real estate.
I mean, I feel like this is a reminder that technology is only as good as how you implement it and the discipline you bring to using it, because I feel like if you just use AI, as you said, that you can just get the data, but the rest 20% is something you have to do. Like, it's only as good as how you implement it. I've seen so many teams adopt tools and then underuse them or overuse them. There needs to be a balance. But what you described is like a real case of unlocking true value of a tool. instead of misusing it.
Absolutely. I think that what you spoke about is right. Having the right balance when you adopt any technology. You need to be sure exactly how you're going to use it. And, having worked with multiple companies in different industries, I have seen this in every organization I've joined. They have some age-old legacy CRM, which
Yeah.
has so many fields to fill that your sales team just gives up. They're like, we are not filling this. I don't have 10 minutes to fill every single detail about every single content. It needs to be
True.
quick. You need to really prioritize what you want. How are you, if you're collecting some information, you need to know how am I using this information? Is it in some kind of analytics data? Is it in some kind of report? Am I going to use this for an email campaign? Once you really narrow that down, you realize you don't need that much information. You just need
Yeah.
certain basic information, and the rest of it can actually be automated. And that's another
True.
thing a lot of companies I realize they do not focus on. They don't focus on automation in their workflow. They rely
True.
on, no, we will have somebody fill it. Users don't need to fill most of this information. All of
True.
it can actually just be automated. So I think
True. I
the other key differentiator is automating your workflows in your tools.
True, that is very true. And I feel like that definitely affects the results a person wants and what the person actually gets. It definitely does affect that. And you are one person who has built your work around delivering measurable results. I am a bit of a stalker. I went through your LinkedIn. So I know that you're really good at delivering measurable results. And from your personal journey, which metrics have consistently proven to be the truest indicators of B2B marketing success and why?
So for me personally, if I can deliver more top line growth with a smaller percentage increase in marketing budget year on year, that is what I would define as success in the marketing department. Because revenue growth, everyone wants it, and you have to deliver it one way or the other. And I can deliver revenue growth by doubling my marketing budget. But is that really effective? That isn't. So you have to look at both numbers together. You can't look at them in isolation.
True.
That is how I would define success in marketing. So where you can actually deliver more growth in revenue with a smaller percentage increase in your marketing budget.
I mean, I personally think of sales and marketing as if they're in a boxing ring in two different corners. I know that alignment on metrics between sales and marketing is absolutely critical, but at times it's just those three ring and about to start a whole boxing MMA fight right there. Because otherwise, success looks very different depending on who you ask. If you ask marketers, it's gonna be different, but if you ask a salesperson, it's gonna be different. What you said connects perfectly to the next thing I want to ask. I am just asking again and again, but it's about acquisition and retention since we're already on those lines. Over the years, like you have driven both customer acquisition and retention initiatives, right? How has your own experience shaped the way you balance these two priorities in B2B? Because these both hold like a lot of weight. And like what lessons did you learn along the way, those hard lessons?
That's a very good question. I have some, like, I've never really put it down, but I have some kind of a mental framework that I would follow. Is that in the initial days, you need to focus on acquisition. You need to build a good customer base. So your priority would depend on what stage are you in as a company. So if you are a legacy company, like the current company that I work with, it's a legacy company, 35 years in business. They have a huge customer base globally. It's a great starting point. But at the same time, we have the subsidiary business, actually, the brand I'm wearing, Buffalo Extraction Systems. So this is a
Yeah.
subsidiary brand of Cybernetik that has just started in 2018. We took this company over, we acquired this company in 2021. So for us, it's as good as a new company, much smaller customer base, double digit customer base. Here, acquisition is more important than retention. We have to first acquire new customers and then we look at customer retention. But at the same time, the balance again is the key. Just because we're acquiring new customers, we can't ignore even the few customers that we had.
True.
And retention should not only be looked at in terms of marketing campaigns and what you do. One aspect that a lot of people forget about marketing is the 4 Ps, the most basic 101 of marketing. And the first P is product. When you have a small set of customers or a big set of customers, you have to anticipate what they need next.
Yeah.
And that's one of the new things we did at Buffalo Extraction Systems is we introduced new products, be it bigger size machines of our existing machines, smaller size machines of our existing machines, more efficient versions of it, more automated versions of it, downstream automation, upstream automation. So we anticipated everything that our customers might potentially need. We came up with new products so that we could even work with our existing few customers, while at the same time we have a whole program, a whole campaign to acquire new customers.
I mean, acquisition might bring in numbers, but retention is really where the sustainable growth comes from, right? And I like how you link the two rather than treating them as silos, which many people do, because in reality, they sort of feed into each other. That
The other way
approach
to look
connects.
at it is also acquisition will give you good top line, retention will give you good bottom line.
And that approach connects nicely to something else you have done, building brand while still keeping revenue in focus, which we did talk about before. Like you have led campaigns and not only build brand presence but also drove revenue alongside. Could you maybe tell me like one such campaign through your journey? What made it successful? Like where revenue was as big of a focus as brand presence was, and what insights can other marketers can take from it? I'm being a little selfish here.
So I can give you an example of Cybernetik, the company I work at currently. Around the time I joined in 2021, we had just launched our first production line or automation line for the battery manufacturing industry. These are the batteries that are used in your electric vehicles. Uh, when we did it, there were just about 3 companies in India that were doing battery pack manufacturing. So it was that fresh, it was that new. And we have, and now there's a whole division in our company that is focusing on that. And we only have one customer reference that we can take to acquire new customers. And we are also waiting for new customers to make investments in this field. So it's so nascent, it's so new, everything is there. What we realized is exhibition organizers were jumping on the EV bandwagon. There was a conference or a trade show happening literally every month. We focused our approach by the manufacturing clusters in the country. So you have clusters in the north, you have a few clusters in the west in Pune, you have a few clusters down in south in Tamil Nadu, Hyderabad, Bangalore. And we took these clusters and we basically participated. We selected shows that were spread across the country. And we did everything from, small conferences to big trade shows, delivered keynote presentations, thought leadership articles with magazines. These are all on the offline side. On the online side, of course, landing page, SEO, the works was done. So a complete 360-degree campaign, cold email outreach. We're tracking news articles, seeing who's making investments. And we knew if we do this for just about 2 years, uh, more or less the industry will know about Cybernetik in the EV space. And our team, we built, the typical account-based marketing. We had a target list in mind, continuously growing as we see more and more companies enter the field. And I think that structured approach of a combination of account-based marketing being targeted with online campaigns, offline campaigns, and brand presence. What we did is we basically built a future pipeline for this new division of Cybernetik, where we were anticipating one project a year. We are today executing 5 of them simultaneously. Pipeline is much bigger. These are extremely big, large projects. That's one of the key factors is the 360-degree approach, the most structured account-based approach that has helped us build a very, very strong pipeline. And we've added tremendously to the top line of this division.
Sure. I mean, too often brand presence and revenue are seen as separate goals. They can be treated as separate goals as well, but the way you framed it shows that they can complement each other when done strategically, obviously. And campaigns like that usually need a lot of cross team collaboration. What was your experience? Working with cross functional teams has been a constant in your career. What's a moment like where aligning different diverse stakeholders felt like particularly challenging? It became like a challenge in itself, and how did you navigate it to keep everyone moving forward towards the same vision and not go into diverse visions?
So this is every marketer's nightmare when you join an engineering company, because we are not engineers, we are marketers. We understand the creative side of the business. There is the whole technical side of the business, and we don't have the knowledge to, dissect the technical information. And uh, quite most of the times, time and again in every company I've seen this, marketers are struggling to even get the technical information that they need in a way that they need. And that was the same story for me. with this company. And specifically, if I take the example of the instance of what I told you earlier about the battery pack assembly, it was a struggle to get the projects team, the design teams, the sales team, all of them on the same page to be like, this is what we're doing. I know we don't have references, we don't have anything, but we're going to go into this market and we're going to position Cybernetic as a leader in EV battery pack assembly lines, and it's going to work. It's that confidence that we had to push to them to tell them that this is going to work. You need to trust us, and you need to give us the information we want in a way we want for us to present it to our customers in a way we think they will want. And so that's what we did, and that's how it worked. And cross-function teams are, it's like swimming. You're scared when you look at the size of the swimming pool or the
Yeah.
ocean or the sea, but once you really jump in and you get the ropes and you understand how to navigate the tricky waters, I think it's really enjoyable because you understand that there are a lot of people in every team who really are enthusiastic about marketing, and it's
True.
about finding the right person within each department who wants to volunteer to actually come out and help and be like, this is, I'm happy to play a part in this. I'm happy to, give you whatever information you need. That is one of the ways we managed to make the cross-functional team work. But as part of a marketing team in an engineering company, we also have technical content writers who are a bridge between the engineering team and the marketing team. And I think that is one factor that has also made a significant impact for us.
True. I think anyone in B2B marketing has faced this challenge of bringing different perspectives into one direction. What I really like is how that challenge can be turned into an opportunity for better alignment instead of just pushing through resistance, which leads to bare minimum in a way. Which brings me to something a bit more reflective as we close. Finally, like when other marketers reflect on your career one day, what impact would you hope they say you had on the B2B marketing community as a whole? How would you like the B2B world to remember you? That's a very vast question. I'm just realizing as I'm saying it. But how would you like the B2B industry, the B2B world to remember you?
I think considering, I've had experience of B2C and B2B, and both these industries, in my experience, have their ways of working. There is this way of thinking that, no, in B2B, this is how we do it. We're in
Yeah,
B2C, this is how we do it. I
true.
feel it's more or less the same because there is no such thing as B2B. At the end of the day, you are selling to people within a
Yeah,
business. As long as you know that person, his designation, his persona, his triggers, his impulses, it's the same as B2C.
true.
You may be playing with smaller numbers. You may be playing with a fragmented audience globally.
Yeah.
Concepts remain the same. And I feel how I would like the B2B industry to remember me is as the one who always came in and did something completely different than what the rest of the industry was doing.
That's a very thoughtful
Yeah.
answer,
So
Kunal. I think it really captures why conversations like this matter. They give us a chance to reflect on not just the work we do, but the kind of impact we want to leave behind.
absolutely.
And to close it off, so we have a sort of a ritual, we can say, where I want the top of your head answer to something that
Okay.
I think everybody's used to. One thing that we all have tried for one time in our life is fill in the blanks. We want to keep it very human, very simple. So I have a fill in the blank for you, and you answer whatever is on top of your mind. Okay.
Okay.
Since our leader diaries really portrays the leader as they are, we want people to remember you not just as a head of a marketing B2B leader. We want people to remember you as Kunal Agarwal, the B2B leader, right? So we want to keep it very human. So my question to you is the piece of advice you'd give to your younger self about leadership is dash.
Is get a mentor. I feel that's one of the things that I have lacked in my career is a good mentor. And I feel it's essential for me at this stage. If I have to grow and be better at what I am, I should actually be focusing on getting a good mentor.
That is very true. We all need a good mentor at times. So that's a wrap on this episode of B2B Marketing Leader Diaries. A huge thank you to Kunal for such an open and thoughtful conversation and bearing with me. I think what really stood out for me personally was how you connected strategy, technology, and measurable outcomes in such a practical yet human way. It was not very glamorous and buzzword talk. It was a very practical and human conversation. There's a lot here for anyone to not just do marketing, but to actually make an impact through it and actually deliver results.
Absolutely.
So, thank you for tuning in. I hope whoever's watching through the screen is leaving with a few takeaways you can bring into your own work. This is what B2B Marketing Leader Diaries is about, learning from those who have walked the path so we all can grow as leaders in our own space, hopefully. And over to you, Kunal. Anything you want to end the conversation
I
with?
would like to say that, thank you so much for having me here. And, I realized there was one question you asked me earlier, which I didn't answer. So maybe I'll take a
Sure.
minute to just answer that. And this is going to be very controversial advice. I've given this in the past, when I've given talks at colleges or conferences to students, and, it's not always well received, but I feel it is the one thing that has actually helped me shape my career and get me to where I am. Is, how they say always that, you need to specialize in a field, you need to become the best SEO guy, you need to become the best performance marketing guy. I feel in today's day with AI coming into almost every field, all of the deep knowledge within a particular field is going to be taken care of by AI. And what humans and what we need to focus on is understanding how to take all of these fields and make just be like the master that is just playing around with all of them to get what you want. And AI has made it more and more easy for us to do that. You now don't need a team of 20 people to do all of these things. A lot of these things can be done automated, can be your team members can handle multiple tasks. You don't need specialists for every single
True.
thing. And my advice to most people would be that try and expand your specialization, try and dip your hands into every aspect of marketing. Throughout my career, I've also freelanced and dabbled in website designing, mobile app designing. I've done so many different things. I've done video editing. I keep doing these courses just to understand what goes into actually every small thing that we do. And that all of those things, I think, in some way or the other, have helped me get to where I am today. So when they say, be and all they say,
I was
jack of all,
about to say
master of
that.
none. I'm the one who always stands on the other side, and I'm
True.
like, no, you should. It's always good to be a jack of all.
Sure, that is very true, and the perfect note to end it on. Not at all controversial. I feel like as marketers, we definitely need to be jack of all trades because there's something or the other coming up in the B2B industry, which is why I like it. It's never monotonous, it's never boring, it is controversial, and it can be challenging, sometimes a headache, but I absolutely love it. So, this is
Right.
Voices of B2B Marketing. Keep making B2B human, and I'll see you in the next one.